Hello, everyone, and welcome to the channel, Shelly's Millions. I hope that everyone received their food stamps today. I believe my mom has, so she's really happy about that. But let me know in the comments if you have not. We do live in the state of California. Many of you know that my mom lives with me, and maybe you guys are like, why, Shelly, is your mom getting food stamps? And it is because of her age and because of her income, she still qualifies. She does pay rent here, and we don't eat meals together. We're on a completely different schedule. For one, she's a diabetic, and so she needs to kind of eat on a consistent schedule. She eats her dinner at 5 p.m. every day. Otherwise, it messes up her blood sugar, and I'm still at work at 5 p.m. So we're not cooking together. We're not eating together. We're not eating the same things. She likes different things than I do. That is, I will say, so she still qualifies, is my point. And she wants to do that. I've told her she doesn't have to. And it's tricky because it's my mom. I would like to take care of her. Feel free, chime in on the comments. Be like, no, that's wrong. You should be taking care of your mom. She gets really mad though. If I'm like, you don't have to do that, I can pay. She's like, well, I earned it. It's mine. I qualify. I deserve it. So that's been a little bit of a sticking point, definitely, for us as she's moved in. The other thing that's been tricky is finding space in our refrigerator. Okay, I'm glad you got your SNAP. All right, you got it on Friday. Okay, that is good to hear. I am glad to hear when that my viewers are getting the things that they've come to rely on. Um, Richard, and you live in Wisconsin. Yes. So I'm so glad to hear that. Richard, I'm curious, like, what do you think? So um, my mom gets food stamps and it's to feed her, right? It does help her income, it helps her money, it helps her budget. Um, she likes it. I feel like that makes her feel independent, right? And I'm like, "Oh no, but you don't need that." So, because I would take care of it for her, but she really, it's a point of frustration for her when I suggest that she doesn't get it. We were even talking about, hi Cindy, we were even talking about the food bank, which, for seniors it's important that they keep kind of a routine. And when she moved here, she used to go to the food bank like every other week, I want to say, or sometimes every week, depending on what she needed. Um, and we haven't gone the whole time she's lived here. Until recently, we found one at the VA hospital because she had a doctor's appointment that day, and she said, "I think there's a food bank. Can we stop by?" And I think part of it too is you don't know what you're gonna get from the food bank. It can be like a surprise from week to week. You get different vegetables, you get different foods, right? So she would get those foods and then she would like figure out how to cook them. So it was, I think for her, she saw it as fun. She sees it as fun. You don't know what you're going to get. It's a surprise. Then it's like challenging to figure out what you're going to make with it. It's fun to see how far you can stretch the meals. Um, but I actually had a conversation with her, and we were talking about Thanksgiving in terms of the food bank. And so we've been twice, right? And the first time we got eggs, and I say we because like I was there taking her, right? Eggs, milk, eggs alone are expensive, right? And some vegetables. The second time, that bread and like literally just three vegetables. I think it was turnips, leeks, and green onions. So that was not super exciting. But that time we were asking about Thanksgiving, which my mom normally fixes. And she used to like get it herself. And then I would pick her up, she would drive here and she would cook it. Um, this year I was like, she wants to go to the food bank again. And here's where I'm struggling. I feel like we don't need it. And she was like, but she's like, but I earned it. She earned it. And she wants to get it because she feels like she deserves it. And she not earned it. Well, I guess with the VA one, she did earn it, right? She's entitled to it is what sh I think her exact words, not I earned it. She said, I'm entitled for it. I'm qualified for it." And she is. But I told her, I said, "If they haven't started giving out the SNAP benefits," I said, "I don't think we should go to the food bank at all." Like, because I feel like, and I still feel like this even if we don't go, I feel like we're taking from somebody that needs it, especially if SNAP wasn't reinstated, but it is. So now I'm a little bit more mixed. I would feel terrible if, right? And also there's another component to it, right? My mom's not driving anymore, so she can't go to the food bank unless I take her. So, but she really enjoys going. It's fun for her, and she does qualify. So, it's really tricky for me. Also, my mom and I get into it a little bit because she always says that I'm the bad guy because I tell her that she can't do this or she can't do that. So, I don't wanna tell her that she can't go to the food bank if she really wants to go, but as if we look at it as a household, like, we don't need it. So, I'm really torn on that. And even I'm gonna also say that even with Thanksgiving meal, we don't necessarily eat together. As a matter of fact, I will work on Thanksgiving. I will miss her eating time. Um, the shifts are different. We used to go live, right? She used to cook and we used to go live on Thanksgiving. I don't know if we're gonna do that anymore. Um, because my shift will either be from 11:30 AM to 7:30 at night, or right, so I'll miss dinner, she'll eat at 5 and I'll come home at 7:30, or actually, I wouldn't get home till 8, and I'm gonna be honest, it's rare, we'll be busy on Thanksgiving, and it's rare when I get out on time. So my shift will either be 11 AM to 7:30, or it will be 3 PM to 11 PM, and I won't get home till 11:30. I won't even see her if I work the night shift on Thanksgiving. And I would need to leave for work at 2:30 and start getting ready at 1:30. So food won't be anywhere near, so she's gonna eat alone. Well, not alone. My friend that rents the garage will come over. Like we do normally, regardless of when I work all the holidays. So regardless of when I work, we will try and do something like play games. We normally, we'll play Monopoly, we'll maybe play something called the train, it's not called the train game, it's called Ticket to Ride, but we'll play board games together. So we'll do something. Okay. Richard says, "I don't go to food banks. They give food that I don't eat." Yeah, sometimes, and it's interesting, like, so you never know what you're gonna get. Sometimes for sure, my mom has received, like, it's like these dinners from Costco, and sometimes it's like a mac and cheese that would be, like, $20 if you went and tried to buy it from Costco. Uh, Sometimes there's, like, baked goods. Sometimes there's, I don't know. Like, I don't think I've ever eaten a turnip. I don't know how to prepare a turnip. The only way that I know how to do it, right? Most vegetables you could slice, throw some salt, pepper, and olive oil on them and bake them in the oven. And I think you can make turnip chips just like you can make carrot chips. I think you can slice turnips, and I think you can like roast them or bake them and turn them into a chip. Um, so yeah, I think, so sometimes it's a little bit odd, but you know what? You can turn those vegetables into a lot of things. And it's funny, I think the time before when she went, she got collard greens. Now I grew up with my mom. So for 18 years, I don't think I ever saw her pick collard greens from like the grocery store when we were going to the grocery store. But um so I started to tell them no as we were going through the line and they were asking what we wanted. And she was like, "No, I do want those." And I was like, "Do you want those?" And she was like, "Yeah." She's like, "I like them." And I was like, "Okay." So, and you don't get to pick, right? They just kind of you go through the line and they just put whatever is left. They put a little bit of it in the bag. You can say, "No, that's enough." But sometimes you don't really get to have a say in how much you get. And Cindy, you were asking Richard how much he gets. Um, and then what's the full amount? We can look that up. Let's switch into that in 1 second. SNAP benefits. Okay. Let me start sharing my page. But my mom likes it because it's a surprise, right? And the other side of that is she asks me for very little, right? Like she never is like, I want to do this, I want to do that. But she does want to go to the food bank. So I want to take her. If she wants to do that, we do that. Richard says most food bank food is past the expiration date. I will say that I have seen that a lot. It's not actually okay. I'm just going to clear this up because I do like sort of movie theaters or sort of food service. There's a best by date and there is a use by date, right? So if something has chicken in it and it says use by November 10th, you better use it by November 10th or freeze it, right? Use it or freeze it by November 10th if it says to use it by then. If it says it's best by November 10th, then it's like up in the air. Like you can kind of stretch that however far you want. Well, okay, not however far you want. You need to smell it and make sure it hasn't gone off. You need to look at it and make sure it hasn't gone off. But if it is a best by date, that means it's or use no, sorry. Yeah, best by. That means that like it's going to be better if you eat it by its best by date. Like, okay, no lie, last night I ate, what is it called? It's called Pirate's Booty, and it's like kind of like healthy popcorn snack, right? And I like the white cheddar flavor, and I was eating it and I was like, "This tastes stale." And sure enough, it said best by October 13th. Now, am I gonna get food poisoning? Am I gonna die because I ate, some popcorn snacks that would have been better if I ate them a month ago? I'm not eating expired food makes me nervous. Yeah, don't eat expired food. Now, the fruits and vegetables, and eggs and milk, those are all gonna be fresh, right? But the foods that they get from, like they I'm gonna say somewhat frequently, grocery stores donate things, and grocery stores are going to donate things that they're about to pull from their shelves very frequently, right? The canned goods usually expire pretty far out. The fruits and vegetables are normally fresh. Um, or there's no dates on like fruits and vegetables, so you just need to look. Oftentimes they might give you a bag of apples and one might be super bruised in there. So you need to pull that one out. Um, but if it's a best by date, it's gonna be okay, like, for sure, like, at least a week after the date that they give you. But yes, I will say that sometimes at the food bank, you're already getting food that is past its best by date. I do not think that they can actually give out something that's actually expired. They cannot give expired food. We can probably Google that, and if they are, they're probably violating a health code violation. Okay. Cindy says that their church normally has a food drive for Thanksgiving, and this year they didn't. I don't know if we missed it or they're doing something different. I'm puzzled since people are worried. So that's an I wonder if it's just not happened yet because one of the other things is oh, shoot, I gotta, okay. One of the other things is that Thanksgiving's kind of late this year. So normally, let's pull up this calendar. So this year, Thanksgiving is on the 27th. So like our food bank is doing it the week of the 21st. So maybe they just are lagging getting the information out. Because definitely things like turkey and meat and things like that could go off. So yeah, maybe they're just waiting a little bit. You guys, I'm starting not to feel good again. I feel like maybe I have this jacket on today. Maybe I need to take the jacket off, or maybe it's the light. I don't know. Everybody at my work is starting to say that they don't feel good. Also, I have worked the last, I don't know, like 10 days in a row. Um, yeah, expired, but so Best Buy and Use By. Best Buy is more like a suggestion. Use By is like, hey, use this buy, otherwise it's expired. Okay. I'm gonna add, you guys, I have to take off this jacket, I think. There's a light on me. What is going on? Okay. I don't normally like to show my arms, but I think we're going to because I'm super duper hot. Oh, okay. Ouch. Also, I hurt my shoulder. How did I hurt my shoulder? Well, I'm at the age where sleeping wrong will hurt your shoulder. So I slept wrong about a week ago. Now it hurts to like raise my shoulder. I need to go back to the chiropractor. I have a chiropractor that I love, but he's like a 2-hour drive. But I think it's time for like a tune up. Okay, let's see here. SNAP benefits. And we'll Google, okay. The maximum monthly amount for SNAP depends on the household size, with a maximum of 298 for one person and 994 for a family of 4. And that was what was effective October 1st, 2025. And this is according to AI. Ba, 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 ba. Now, this is also interesting because I could swear that I saw on TikTok, which probably is not reliable, but maximum monthly SNAP benefits by household size, one person is 298, two people 546, three people 785, four people 994, five people $1,158, six people 1390, seven people $1,536, and eight people $1,756. Oh, and then each additional person you add $220. Your benefit amount, the maximum amount, is the highest possible benefit. Your actual benefit will be less if your household has income after allowable deductions are subtracted. There's local and state adjustments. Some states, such as Alaska and Hawaii, have higher maximums due to cost of living adjustments. And future changes, SNAP benefits are adjusted annually to account for inflation. Special circumstances, certain states may have other factors that affect your maximum benefit amount or eligibility, such as income and assist limits. Okay. So that's the maximum. I wonder. Okay. Let's just look at food banks. Can food banks give expired food? You know, it's so creepy how computers know now what we've been talking about, but it knows for sure. Okay, Joel. Hi, Joel. I want, okay. So Joel put up a comment that says, I wonder if Trump has dementia. He got an MRI recently and he seems to be showing early signs of it. Maybe soon we will have President Vance. Possibly. You know what? Okay. Let's look at this food stamp thing. I don't like to speculate, right? I think, and it totally, right, Steve? It is. That's what we were just talking about. Best Buy and Use By. If you have a use by date and you've gone past that, then that's expired. But if it's Best Buy, it's more of a suggestion, like the company will guarantee its maximum tastiness up to that date. And if it goes past that, it just might not be as tasty as it would have been if you ate it 2 days ago. I just shared that I ate some I think we mostly call it expired, right? I ate some, it's called Pirate's Booty. It's like that little, it's like a white cheddar popcorn product, but it's not actually popcorn. I don't know what it is, but anyway, it's like a super processed thing that I shouldn't be eating, but it was tasty and it wasn't tasty actually because I wanted a snack. But its best by date was October 13th and I ate it last night and I was like, this tastes stale. Did I eat the whole bag anyway? Yes. Am I gonna be fine? Yes. Is it expired? Technically, no. But sometimes, like, you taste it and you're like, "Ah, this is off," and then you can decide to proceed to eat it or not. Even though, like, I'm sure I'm not gonna get sick, I do wish that yesterday I would not have proceeded to eat that. But I was hungry, I didn't want a whole meal. Um, oh, wow. Oh, I'm sorry, Richard. Oh, that would leave that ugh, I'm so sorry. It was expired, not Best Buy. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. That sucks. They're not supposed. Wait, what? Okay. Shelf stable items. Oh, but see, this is talking about Best Buy dates. So this is the AI overview again, which, take that with a grain of salt. Yes, some food banks can give expired food, but it's saying specifically shelf stable items like canned goods and those with best by dates, as those dates often refer to quality, not safety. However, they will not give away expired baby food or formula, and most food banks do not accept fresh produce, dairy, or meats, even if they are still good because of spoilage concern. It is important to check with your local food bank for their specific policy on expired or close to expired donations. What is often accepted? Shelf stable foods, canned goods, and other non perishable items are often accepted, even if they are past the best by date. They are still safe to eat after a period by that date. Best by or use by dates. Oh, that's interesting. So it's saying that a use by date isn't actually anyway, what it says is these dates are typically not federal expiration dates and indicate peak quality, not safety, with the exception of infant formula. What is not accepted, expired baby formula and food. Federal law requires these items to have an expiration date, and food banks cannot distribute them past that date. Perishable items, fresh produce, dairy, and meat are generally not accepted because food banks may not have the refrigeration needed to keep them safe. And food with damaged packaging, dented cans, open packages, or anything that can be a contamination risk is usually refused. How long after the expiration date is food still good? You can often eat expired food, but for how long depends on the type of food, how it was stored. Dates on labels are typically for peak quality, not safety. Most canned goods are safe for years, while highly perishable items like raw meat are only safe for a few days past that date. To check if food is still good, use your senses to look for mold, unusual smells, or changes in texture, and discard anything with signs of spoilage, especially if the packaging is damaged. Can you eat you? Okay, well, you guys, this is apparently a question. Can you eat 20-year-old canned food? I'm gonna say what? Ooh, no. So the question is, can you eat 20-year-old canned food? And this is the AI overview. Yes, you can likely eat 20-year-old canned food if the can is in good condition, but its quality will have declined and it may not be safe if there are signs of damage. Before eating, perform a thorough inspection for any signs of spoilage, like bulging, rust, dents, or a foul odor. Always discard cans that show any damage or if the food has an unusual appearance or smell. Oh my God, a 20-year-old canned good. That's a bit excessive. Okay. So Richard says he's not going anymore. All right, Steve, while you're saying this, I gotta share this. So, probably when I was, like, 24, I think is when I started dating this person. Keep in mind, I am 48 years old now. Hi, Miss Pretty Lady. Okay, so I am 48 years old now. So, literally, I've had some salt for half of my life. I was dating this guy. We had a Costco membership. And he convinced me, I think it was like, everything's in bulk, right? This is clearly meant for a store. It was like a bag. Oh, sorry. I had to take my jacket off because I'm hot and I hate my arms. But anyway. Okay. So the bag was probably like, I can't get both my hands on it. I don't like a huge bag of salt. Like probably like if it was that big, it must have been like a 25-pound bag of salt. Like it was bigger than like a pack of sugar that you would normally get. So I am still lugging around and using a 25-pound bag of salt. I moved it when I moved into my house. I took the salt with me because it doesn't really go bad. It's no longer in its original, like, it was in like a bag, like a flour bag, but way like bigger, like a big bag. So yeah, I've since put it in a different container and I'm still using it to refill my salt shaker. And I still feel like I'm never going to get through the amount of salt that I have. It's crazy. Anyway, he was like, have I saved money? Probably, but we did not need that much salt. Okay. All right, Joel, let's go back to your comment, if you're still in here, about Trump and his dementia. I don't like to speculate, but I will say that things that I have looked up, let's look up how old is Donald Trump? Because I remember in the past I looked up, he's 79 years old. Okay. Um, okay, there was this, let's see if we can see it. Sure. Okay. So they're circulating this image of him sleeping. I don't know if that means, I don't know. 79. He could not. I'm not his doctor, but I will say how that, a lot of times it's genetics. How old was Donald Trump's father when he passed away? Okay. So he was 93, Donald Trump's dad. So I feel like Donald Trump he's got some years left in him. Whether those are like good years, I don't know, I don't know. And I'm also going to say, I don't wish that anybody has dementia. Um, I wish sometimes Cindy says, "Why are we talking about dementia when it was never talked about with Biden?" I feel like they did talk about that a little bit with Biden. Um, at least, I mean, isn't that kind of why he didn't end up like rerunning for president? At least, I guess maybe. Well, yeah, he was still sitting president then. But yeah, I don't really think it doesn't change the fact that he is president right now. And that's kind of up to his doctors and to him if dementia, from what I understand, can be, one, tough to diagnose, and two, like the patient may not know that they have it. So, I don't wish that upon him. I don't wish that upon the country. Like, you know what? Sometimes I get sleepy in meetings too, and I'm 48. Sometimes I'm super duper forgetful and I'm 48. So there was this really sad movie a while back that said it's called Still Alice and it's with Julianne Moore and it's about somebody who got like early onset Alzheimer's. And it's super sad, but, like, super impactful. So, you never know. And I just don't wish health issues on anybody, right? I think that, like, builds, like, bad karma, and I think that, but, um and I think he's probably gonna live about as old as his father did. So I think that Donald Trump's probably gonna live into his early 90s at least. And I'm gonna go ahead and say that I hope he does. I hope he has a big family that rely on him. Hello, he has a big country that's right now relying on him, whether we're for it or against it. So So yeah, I mean, I'm hoping the best, right? And I don't think a picture of somebody being sleeping in a meeting, his days are probably really long, right? Um, the other day I arrived at work and I felt like I needed to like put my head down on my I was tired as soon as I walked in the door. And I don't think I did, but I felt like I needed to just put my head down on the desk for about 5 minutes before I started working, and if you're my boss, n no, that didn't happen for sure. I felt 100%. No, I was tired walking in the door. I don't think I put my head down on the desk. There have been days, though, where I've put my head down on the desk, and I mean, like, we're allowed breaks also, guys, so my employer would allow me to take a break. If I said, "Hey, guys, I just need to put my head down for about 5 minutes," that would be allowed. Um, there would also be somebody else in the building that could take care of things while I put my head down. Also, we have radios. I mean, like, I don't know, like, sometimes you get tired if you're working a lot. I don't know. Okay, let's see here. Biden didn't run when there was a debate and it couldn't be ignored. Joel says, I have a flight on Wednesday and now it might be canceled because of the government shutdown. I just realized that. Joel, I have an employee who was supposed to fly this weekend. And I don't know if he did or not. I hope that anybody here's what I hope. I hope that everybody has like a nice I want people to have an easy life, whatever that means for them, right? If that means no or low financial stress, if that means good relationships, if that means knowing that you're going to have a source of food to eat because they're not delaying food stamps, if that means ease of getting on your flight. Hopefully, the flight won't be canceled. Hopefully, you would just need to get to the airport super, super duper early. And then Cindy says it is Congress shutting down, um, not the executive branch. That's absolutely true. Um, so this is my understanding, right? And you guys know that I'm not super duper into politics. I do think so it's my understanding that with the shutdown, they will eventually receive back pay for the time that the shutdown is going on, right? So that's my understanding. I could have that wrong. Let's Google that because I actually don't know. But that's my understanding is that they're going to go to work. They're not getting paid right now, but eventually they'll be paid. But I'm not sure that that's right. So let's go to the internet. Will the government employees get paid this week? Well, let's try that. It's not exactly what I want to know. Ba, 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 ba. 2 days ago, Democrats expressed support for paying federal employees. Okay, wait, let's look at this. This one sounds good. Wait, will they get paid eventually for work they did during the shutdown? For work they did. Sorry, I'm not a fast typer during the shutdown, unless you're my employer, and then I am. I'm fast and efficient at everything I do. Okay, hold on. Okay. AI overview. Yes, all federal government employees, both furloughed and accepted employees who are required to work, are guaranteed to receive back pay for work they performed during a government shutdown. This guarantee is ensured by the Government Employee Fair Treatment Act of 2019, which was signed into law and makes the retroactive payment of wages mandatory once a lap in appropriations ends. Key points. It's guaranteed by law. The 2019 Act permanently codified the practice of providing back pay after a shutdown, so Congress does not have to pass a specific bill for every instance. Okay, that's good. That's making things more efficient. Applies to all affected employees. This includes both employees who were placed on non-duty, non-pay status, furloughed, and those who were required to continue working without immediate pay, accepted or essential employees. paid as soon as possible. Agencies are required to provide the back pay at the earliest possible date after the shutdown ends, regardless of normal payroll schedules, and it excludes contractors. This law does not cover government contractors who typically do not receive back pay. So, and I think that would be because, like, to me, most contracted employees, well, no, I don't know, I guess. Um, Cindy, hopefully you'll be fine next year. I will say that this was happening a little bit. The government shutdown was already in effect when I took my international trip to Ireland. And I understand that that was about a month ago now, but and I finally I I got pre-check, TSA pre-check. Now I kind of understand that, like, they're not do that it's all one line, that there's no TSA pre-check, there's no difference because, there's just not enough employees to have 2 separate lines. So they even when I flew, and I think was it October 3rd that I flew? October 3rd, they were saying get to the airport about 4 hours early. Now I think they're saying 5, and it ended up like we got through, and I know that they're saying that some of the flights and everything are canceled now. Um, but the government employees will eventually get paid. Now, that does not mean that they don't still have bills to pay, right? Like, if it's great knowing that you're gonna get paid eventually, but tell that to the bank. Tell that to the person that holds your mortgage, right? So maybe once people start needing to pay their mortgage payment, that's when it gets tricky. And I would like to I would like to think that government employees are paid well, right? So here's what I would have to do if I was in that same situation. Many of you know that I don't have, like, a lot of savings, right? I live paycheck to paycheck on purpose, and I do that so that I can invest a lot of as much money as possible. But you've also heard me say, especially since we were just talking about my trip to Ireland, you've heard me say that I'm really getting into points and miles. I wanna take a lot of free trips, right? I wanna fly in business class, and I don't want to have to pay out of pocket to do that. So, in order to accomplish that goal, I have opened a lot of credit cards this year. I have good credit, um, and I had to think about that for a minute. But yeah, this is right. I have good credit, so I'm very, very fortunate, and I've gotten approved for a couple of credit cards. And you do that, you have to hit a minimum spend. So one of the credit cards, I'll just give you an example. I got 80,000 American airline miles, which I'm hoping is enough for at least one way in business class, maybe to like Paris or London, Paris, or France, right? Which city you were just telling me I would like. So I would like to use those points on a business class trip to London Heathrow. And that's why I opened that card. I had to spend $3,000 in 6 months. I did that. I timed it right before, my electric bill hit, like, I put all my utilities on the credit card. I think I mentioned I'm taking a expensive medicine that I pay for out of pocket, that's $500. Anyway, so I have credit cards, right? Like most Americans. I am fortunate that I have good credit, and um I have available credit on those credit cards that I could spend. And Richard, I'll tell you this in a second. And to be honest, I don't actually know the answer. Um, I think first class is supposed to be much, much nicer. A lot of planes don't even have first class anymore, though. They just have business class. And if I said first class, I meant business class because first class is even with points. Well, not always. And I might try and anyway, whatever. I don't really know the difference though. It's nicer, it's more private, it's more exclusive, but a lot of planes don't even have first and business, they just have business. What most people want in business is a lie flat seat. And the only reason, well, no, I like it. It's fancy. I'm gonna be honest. But the main reason why I want it is like I'm a bigger person. Um, I don't my even the last time my mom and I flew, we were squished up against this man who was also a bigger person. My mom and I had to, like, even switch seats so that she was in the middle, and I hated to put my mom in the middle, but thank you, mom, for doing that because there was no way I was gonna survive that flight and being in the middle seat. Um, so you put 2 big people. Oh, you just it's rough back there in economy if you're a big person, and I'm a big person. So, I like the lay flat seat. I like the elbow room. I like not sitting squinched up like this the entire flight. You can breathe because there's not really anybody next to you. So that's why I like it. Anyway, um, we were talking about the flights. Oh, and we were talking about points. This is how I would have to pay my bills if I was a government employee. So the first month, hopefully you get I don't know how often they're paid. I don't know if they're paid monthly, biweekly, what. Um, the first month, I would probably have like enough cash, right? The second month, or like if you got paid on the first before the government shut down, or if you got a paycheck, you would pay whatever bills are due then. Then everything else would need to go on a credit card. And in my situation, and you can take a cash advance against your credit card, and as long as you pay it back by the due date, right? And if you time it right, this can buy you almost maybe like 2 months. So, if they put it on the right credit card, maybe they're not having to pay it back yet, and hopefully everything will open back up before their credit cards come due. But I would have to use whatever money I had from whatever last paycheck I got to stretch as far as humanly possible, and then whatever credit card has the furthest away deadline, I would have to put all of my expenses, including taking like a cash advance, on a credit card. Um, uh-oh, my coworker's texting me. Okay, I think it's okay. Anyway, so why are they he's texting me a picture. Anyway, they had a rough morning. Um, so I would have to put it on credit cards, and I would have to hope that the government would open back up before the credit card payment was due and that I got my check. I guess the other option, right? Because I like to pay my bill in full. And while this is not ideal, because I wouldn't want to pay interest on things, and especially the cash advances have the most interest. And I'm talking about cash advance on a credit card, not cash advance from like one of those predatory like payday loan places. I hope nobody's going to those. But like I would have to get that cash advance and then, pay it off. The other thing that I could do in my situation is I do have money in like Robinhood. So if I wanted to pay my credit card off in full and I didn't want to take that, like, pay the interest, I could sell some investments, and I do have some that are not tied into my 401k that I could sell. Like, so I would be okay. Like, I think it's more principle, right? Like, they're like, I don't want to go to work when I'm not getting paid. Like, why should I go to work when I'm not getting paid? Um, I think it's kind of more like a solidify thing, like hurry up government and get your act together so that we can get reopen and start getting our paychecks, right? But I would hope that a government employee would be able to, even if it's not ideal, put it on credit cards, somehow string it together. Hopefully, they have friends or family that they could lean on, maybe that they can ask. But yeah, you cannot tell the bank, "Oh, well, I'm a government employee." Actually, there might be forbearance. We could look that up. But like your landlord, your mortgage, your utilities, they're not going to understand, "Oh, I'm a government employee. Like, let me just pay you when the government opens back up." Like, they're going to be like, "No, like, this is your bill and you owe the money." So that is unfortunate, but it does appear that they will eventually get paid. Um, so yeah, so I hope everything opens back up. And here's what I think the stick sticking point is, and I'm curious about your different viewpoints on this as well. I hear it is the health insurance, which many people refer to as Obamacare, but I think it's the America Cares Act, and, um, I think they're trying to do away with it, right? I might not have that right, but that's the sticking point on whether to continue subsidizing that or not. That's my understanding. Okay. Cindy says, I remember as a child, I was always in the back seat in the middle. I was the shortest and smallest of my siblings. It got to the point I didn't argue. I just went to my spot. Most of the time, I actually like the middle spot because you're sort of seated forward and you do have a little bit of elbow room. So the other people are almost like pinned back with your arms, but this man was so big that was, thank you, the Affordable Care Act. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Um, that so I think that's the sticking point. Let's look at, let's look at that. What else did I just say? I just said, oh, let's look at that. Uh, but that seems to be the sticking point. Yeah, and I'm short too. So, like, for the most part, I would be okay in economy. It's just like the elbow room. Cindy says she thinks it's about the illegal aliens' healthcare that's causing the sticking point. So I don't know anything about that. I will share that growing up, right? I'm in California, so I'm not that far from Mexico. I have a friend. He's actually the I don't know if he would be mad that I would share this, but the friend that I went to Ireland with, when he first got to the US, he was not legal. He's legal now. But he was not when he first moved here. And he had to go through the process. And part of that process was that he got married to somebody. They're actually in love. They're divorced now, but they were in love. They were married for 25 years and they're still living together. Anyway, whatever. Not to give his drama on the internet. But so he is a legal citizen now, but he was not when he moved here. And his mom, they would not go to the doctor. They would not, like, they weren't taking any resources, and it's my understanding that, like, the people that get here illegally are so afraid of getting deported that they don't wanna use those free resources. Um And then on the flip side of that coin, right? So, like, I can only speak from experience, and that was his experience. He was like, "I can't go to the doctor, like, I can't go, like, broken arm, like, that's it's just gonna heal wrong. They're not gonna reset it because 'cause they're not going to the doctor because they were so nervous about, like, being deported that they wouldn't do that. On the flip side of that, if someone's really ill, I absolutely think, like, what if I would have gotten sick in Ireland and I need to go to the hospital? Like, I would hope that they wouldn't be like, "Well, you're American, we can't treat you here in Ireland." And I wasn't there, like, illegally. I was there on vacation with my passport and I was leaving, but you don't know. And if somebody is really sick and needs treatment, the emergency rooms are not allowed to turn them away, but I don't know if it's actually giving I just don't know, I guess, is the actual answer to this. Um, let's see. Does the Affordable Care Act cover? And then there's, like, the dreamers, where they were supposed to be granted, like, permanent residency, but they aren't? Does the Affordable Care Act cover immigrants? Hmm. Well, for lawfully present immigrants who can enroll in plans through the ACA marketplace and may qualify for financial assistance. Undocumented immigrants are explicitly ineligible for federal ACA programs, including marketplace coverage and subsidies, Medicaid, and Medicare. Um, Lawfully present immigrants include a range of statuses such as lawful permanent residents, green card holders, refugees, and asylees. And I will also tell you, when I worked in Um, well, I always worked at the movie theater, but once I helped open a theater in Bethesda, Maryland, which is really close to Washington, DC. We just took we took a quick day trip there. And we got a lot of refugees applying, and it was one of the saddest things I've ever witnessed. These people were like doctors in their own countries, but like but they weren't qualified to do the movie theater because like they couldn't communicate well enough, and it was so sad. Because one of the questions during interviews, okay, tell me a little bit about like your last job. And I didn't know, I didn't have their applications. They were just sending me people, and they would be like, "Doctor, doctor." And I was like, "You need a like you went to the doctor?" No, like they were a doctor. They were a doctor and are no longer qualified. It was really, really, really heartbreaking. Okay. Uh, Scattershot 8. Most of the time, I don't like to talk about politics. I like to try and stay neutral. I like to try and see both sides, and I really encourage and I like open dialogue, and I like hearing different viewpoints. Um, and here's the thing, right? I think illegal, not illegal. And this is what I was debating at the beginning of this. I think the real issue is not wanting people to kind of take more than their share or more than they deserve. And that's what I was debating with me and my mom and the food stamps, right? How is that different than somebody who maybe shouldn't qualify for health insurance getting health insurance, right? To me, I feel like I should ask my mom not to get food stamps, but she really wants them. But, like, I feel like that's wrong because I could just give her the money. Like, and if I can do that, I feel like I should. So the sticking point is getting rid of ACA healthcare. Richard says when the government reopens, they need to lower the ACA premiums. They're going up soon. Well, and I've heard that they're trying to totally get rid of it. And then Joel says, apparently I saw in the news that Trump is proposing we get $2,000 from tariff revenue. Just saw that right now. Maybe it won't lead anywhere or proposal only. Okay, let's see. What? Let's look. Let's look at it together. So it's saying it doesn't cover immigrants. What? Hold on. So let's first look at what is the sticking point for the government shutdown. I'm going to take a sip of coffee. That means to like the video. I always enjoy discussing these things with you. So thank you guys for being respectful and sharing your opinions and spending your Sunday morning with me. Okay, so it's the subsidies. And I will say, when there was not the shutdown, but when there was COVID, my company, we shut down in March. My company continued to cover our health insurance through October. Then we had, thank you, Cindy, I appreciate that. But I feel wrong about it. I do. But thank you, thank you. That makes me feel a little bit better. And it is, I guess it is her choice. That's the thing. She does qualify, which is what she keeps telling me. She qualifies. She qualifies. She qualifies independent of me. If we shared meals and ate together, that would be a different story. Then we would be acting as a household. But really, my mom is kind of acting as my roommate. And even though I'm her daughter and I love her and I would give her the world, even though we live together, we're very separate, like households. We're still operating separately. Oh, Scattershot 8 says, I'm saying that stereotypes are used to vilify people. Absolutely. Absolutely. So, okay. The Affordable Care Act. Oh, so my health insurance was subsidized during that, right? You put in, and you had to estimate how much you think you would make. And I know a lot of people that have the subsidized health insurance. As a matter of fact, A lot of my employees have that. The employers, especially here in California, are required, um, the health insurance is required. I'm gonna murder my employees. No, I'm not gonna murder anybody. They're texting me a lot about something that they know I don't wanna do. Anyway, um, sorry, I got derailed because that popped up on my announcements. Um, it's like they want this thing, and it's literally it's a trip hazard for me. Like, I will trip over it, so I don't know. Ugh, just breathe and move forward. It's my day off, but it's not ever really my day off. Okay. What was I saying? Oh, that I got subsidized health insurance. A lot of my staff have subsidized health insurance because even though employees in California provide health insurance, usually, like when you hit the hours, it's a lot of hours you have to work to meet the threshold to qualify for the company's health insurance. So a lot of times people like they want health insurance. And I think a lot of people were just not having health insurance before. Okay, Steve says, I want the inflation to go down and go back to normal. The tracking I did this year on inflation on items I buy is 14.5. That can't continue. That would be a really good video and a really good topic and something that I have meant to do and just never um, found the time to do. The subsidies, okay. This is an ABC News article, and it says, as the federal government shutdown enters, this was a while ago now, this was from October 11th. It was in its 10th day. One major healthcare issue has continued to be a sticking point: insurance subsidies. The Affordable Care Act, or premium tax credits, help lower or eliminate the out of pocket cost of monthly premiums for those who purchase insurance through the health insurance marketplace. Okay, I realize that I've only one paragraph in, but I will say that when the Affordable Care Act happened, what I saw happen is I saw a lot of people who previously didn't have health insurance go ahead and sign up. Because of the subsidies, it made it so that they could have health insurance. And I know a lot of people, like personally know a lot of people today that have health insurance because of that. Um, and just my knee-jerk reaction without reading everything is that the subsidies are important, and here's why. I think it encourages people to do more preventative care before things get really bad, right? And I think that the worse things are, the more it actually costs to fix it. So again, kind of going back to like the example of the emergency room or like breaking an arm. I remember I thought I sprained my arm. I was in a car accident when I was 18. I totaled the car. I signed the ambulance away because I was like, "Oh my god, I can't afford an ambulance." Maybe I was 20. Maybe I didn't have like my insurance that little kids get. But I like my mom didn't have health insurance, so I wasn't on her plan. I remember having to go to county hospital. I thought it was a sprain. I signed away the ambulance because I was like, we can't afford an ambulance ride. And then I sat in county for like more than 8 hours, but I actually had a broken arm. Um, I think I think not having health insurance causes people to wait longer and then they can get sicker. And then I think that emergency rooms cost more, and emergency rooms, the doctors have to treat you. I think that's like literally the Hippocratic Oath, is that they can't deny service to anybody. Um, so sorry, I started thinking about the thing at work again and then I got distracted. Anyway, um, I think it costs more money to treat it in the emergency room. So I think encouraging more people to have health insurance and they pay lower premiums, I think in the long run will save the country money. But I do not have the hard data to back that up. That's just what my intuition tells me is that people with health insurance are going to go to the doctor more regularly and do preventative care and treatment versus if people do not have health insurance because it's not subsidized, they will, if it's bad enough, they're still going to eventually need treatment, but because they don't have health insurance and because they don't have a regular doctor, that's going to lead them to the emergency room where the expenses are going to be higher, and therefore it's going to cost more money. Oh, Steve, that's terrible. Your Medigap will be up 14% in 2026. That's really unfortunate. I'm really that's a lot of money. 14% is a lot of money. So I'm sorry about that. Oh, what else were we going to look up? Oh, the $2,000. Okay, let's try and end this on a good note. Trump 2000. Trump stimulus checks 2025. That's the first thing that comes up. 3 hours ago. Oh, if I would have known. All right, that was on X. I don't think I can open that because I don't think my X is working. All right. Live now from Fox. Hold on. All right. Okay, let's just look at this one. I don't think it's not going to open. Because I don't have an account. It's not going to let me sign in. All right, hold on. We got to find something that's not on X. My X got hacked and now I can't get in. 3 hours ago. It's like The Guardian. Trump weighs giving Americans $2,000 from tariff revenues in a bid for support. This really wants me to buy a Labubu. Okay. Trump weighs giving Americans $2,000 from tariff revenues in bid for support. Donald Trump on Sunday mused about giving most Americans $2,000 funded by tariff revenues collected by the president's administration, an evident bid to rally public support on the issue. A dividend of at least $2,000 a person, not including high-income people, will be paid to everyone, Trump wrote on his Truth Social platform on Sunday. The Post also made it a point to call people against tariffs fools. For such a plan to take effect, congressional approval would likely be required. Earlier this year, Republican Senator Josh Hawley of Missouri introduced a bill proposing $600 in tariff rebates for nearly all Americans and their dependent children. What's funny to me a little bit is it's interesting that we're doing this, but like we're not pushing getting the food stamps out. And I know that that's not all on the executive branch on Donald Trump, but like, man, anyway, this would be good. Americans deserve a tax rebate after 4 years of Joe Biden's White House policies that have devastated families' savings and livelihoods. That was Hawley that said that back. He said the legislation would allow hardworking Americans to benefit from the wealth that Trump's tariffs are returning to this country. However, U.S. Secretary Scott Bessent said in August that the administration's main focus remains reducing the national debt, which stands at $38.12 trillion, using funds from tariff collections. He said the money would be used first to start paying down the federal debt, not to give rebate checks to Americans. According to the Treasury Department's September report, $195 billion in customs duties were collected during the first 3 quarters of the year. Though it appears the cost of giving out $2,000 checks could easily surpass the amount actually collected from the tariffs. So while I like the idea of tariffs personally, let me restate that. While I like the idea of a $2,000 tariff rebate check personally, right? I would like $2,000. I would like all my viewers to get $2,000. But I do not like if that $2,000 check would end up costing us more than we got back from what we're charging in tariffs. That's what I meant to say. Okay. Though it appears the cost of giving out $2,000 checks could easily surpass the amount actually collected from the tariffs. So that I don't like. According to calculations, these payments would cost close to, if not more than double the amount that has been reportedly generated so far. If the cutoff is 100,000, 150 million adults would qualify for a cost near 300 billion. I don't like that. If kids qualify, that grows. The math gets worse, accounting for the full budgetary impact of tariffs. Adjusting for that, tariffs have raised 90 billion of net revenue compared to Trump's proposed 300 billion rebate. Yeah, I don't think that's in the budget. John Arnold, co-chair of Arnold Ventures, estimated that the dividend payment could cost as much as 513 billion. As of October, consumers were paying an average effective tariff rate of nearly 18%, the highest since 1934, according to data from the Yale Budget Lab. Since the president introduced widespread tariffs on global trading partners in April, companies have passed part of those costs on to consumers. This isn't the first time Trump had floated the idea of giving Americans stimulus checks based on revenue from his tariffs. In October, he said that he was considering offering Americans checks from the revenue worth somewhere between 1,000 and 2,000. In July, the president again suggested that the government might consider the tariff rebate check. And in February, he and tech mogul Elon Musk, who at the time was still advising the White House, said they were considering the idea of $5,000 dividend check based on savings generated by the so-called Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE. These payments never came to be, but as the national deficit actually increased under DOGE and the amount cut from federal spending was significantly exaggerated. The U.S. Supreme Court heard arguments on Wednesday on Trump's sweeping global tariffs and appeared skeptical of their legality. Okay. All right. So that is, that's what that says about that. And, always what I say is don't count it until we actually see it. Okay. Richard says the state of Wisconsin pays your Medicare premiums. I like that. Hello, Triana, or Trina. It's a bunch of lies circulating about the food stamps. I don't think my mom got her November food stamps, and my mom lives here in California, and Richard, who lives in Wisconsin, also received his. So I do think those are going out. Steve says that he has that HSA to recover Medicare. You're good. The account grows more than it costs, which I love, and I'm going to try that next year. And then Richard says that you may have to pay taxes on that $2,000 even if we get it. All right, and I think that's going to be it for me. I always enjoy our conversations and the different viewpoints. So thank you very much for being a part of that, and thank you for watching Shelly's Millions. I'll see you next time.